I should say, this live is sponsored by Inflection. Hey, welcome. Hey, Team 2. Hey. Tanita, I'm so glad you're on this because we met in Vegas. So I'm going to be talking about Vegas. Hey, Daphne Wrights. Patrice, copywriter. Hey, everyone. Going to get started in a moment. Thanks for joining. So I'm actually at home. I'm in Houston. Thank God. Oh, feels so good to be home. Feels so good to be home. Traveling for 10 days. I did come home last weekend, but it's been a tough 10 days. So I want to go ahead and get started and talk about my trip to Vegas. I was in Vegas Monday morning up until Wednesday morning. Okay, you're in Houston, H-Town. So it was a quick trip because it was a last minute trip. But I'm so grateful that I went. So I want to take you back to, I want to say 2015. 2015 was the first time I went to Las Vegas. And at that time, I decided someone who celebrates, thanks for joining. Thank you so much. 2015, I went to Vegas for the first time. And I attended New Media Expo. Let's see if I'm getting these dates right. I attended New Media Expo, and it was around this time. It was like that March or April. And the reason why I know that is because I had just launched my podcast, Networking with Michelle. And I had problems getting my podcast up and running. In Lipson, they had a booth. They're a podcasting hosting company. They had a booth and they have the best customer service. And they helped me launch my podcast while I was attending the conference. And I'll never forget that moment because I think customer service doesn't get any better than that. So that's one. So 2015, I'm at New Media Expo and I was just green. I was just so green. It was one of those things where I thought I knew marketing, and then you get into the room where there's people that are smarter than you. And you're like, I don't know shit. Like, I don't know nothing. And it was literally a whole new world for me at that time. And I remember I had launched my book on networking and had did a few podcast interviews. And people were like, you should start a podcast. And I really believe anytime the Bible says, wherever 2 or 3 are together in my name, there I am with them, right? And it's usually when it comes to prayer and agreement. So I believe anytime that 2 people say something, like you really got to take it seriously. You know, the third person says it, that's a confirmation. And I believe when 2 or 3 people say something, you have to take action. And action could just be the research, right? You really need to look into, like, okay, is this something I can do? What is the process? Can I create a plan around it? And that's how I got into podcasting. And at that time, there wasn't a lot of information, but John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire had the most information. Thank you, RC, for joining, talking about podcasting, how I got my start in podcasting in Vegas. And I signed up for Entrepreneur on Fire, their membership program. And thank God I did sign up because that was the cheapest. Ooh, Lord. Grandfathered in, thank God. So they partnered you with a group of people, and you have these accountability partners. And for me, my goal was to launch my podcast in 3 months. And in my group, I want to say there was 3 of us, and I was the only person that launched my podcast in 90 days. And I remember I was trying to get it launched before the conference. Thank you, Kimmy, for joining. I was trying to get my podcast launched before the conference, but I had some hiccups. So at the conference is when I saw the Leadscon booth, and I was like, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. And I went to a session. Before I knew it, I came out and they launched my podcast for me. So, hey, from Cameroon, shout out 237. So, so Leadscon helped me launch my Networking with Michelle podcast. So that was, I'll just say April 2015. And I remember at that time, I wanted to podcast because I knew that was going to be the best way for me to expand my brand, expand my reach with zero budget, right? For $100 or less, you can be a podcaster too, at least at that time. And it worked. It really did work. Podcasting was probably the best decision I made for that year. And I was like, I just want to speak. That's all I want to do. I was like, I want to be a thought leader. I want to be known for networking, for marketing, and I want to speak to people about this. And obviously, over the years, I've evolved. I'm talking about personal branding, LinkedIn. I've been a guest on over 200 podcasts and radio shows. Started the African American Marketing Association. Now I'm talking about diversity and marketing. And last month, I decided to join the Women of MarTech. That was through a mutual friend, did an introduction, and I spoke to Melissa, and she's the president of the Women of MarTech, or she's VP, she's up there, and had a great conversation. Like, cool chick, New Jersey, love her swag, and this was on Zoom, right? It was just a good vibe. And she was like, hey, you'd be great for this panel we're doing. And it was perfect because it was at the end of Black History Month and then the beginning of Women's History Month. So they had pretty much Black women in marketing talking about their story, their journey, their wins, their failures. And it was great. It was great because I think we definitely need more white women opening up their platforms and spaces to allow Black women and other women of color to speak about their experience, be it personal or professional. So we did that. It was great. And a matter of days later, she reached out to me. She was like, hey, I got another opportunity. I think you'll be great for it. And I got the email and I was like, I just got a lot on my plate. Like, it's just too much going on. Thank you, Barbara Grace, for joining. I was like, I just got a lot going on. I don't know. Good conversation. Needless to say, I made it to Vegas. And I was just so grateful, right? Grateful for so many things. One, for thinking of me. Two, for allowing my work to speak for itself. That my work is allowing my name to be brought up in rooms that I'm not even privy to. And I'm doing what I love, right? I'm able to, in this case, go to Vegas, travel the world, and speak about diversity and marketing. And diversity is not always about Black and white, but diversity is broad. Diversity is about everything, Black, Asian, Latina, people with disabilities, LGBTQ. How are you not only creating diverse teams, but inclusive spaces and equitable practices that people feel welcome? And I think I definitely have that gift to talk about that in a sincere, entertaining way that allows people to open up and listen. And it was just a blessing. It was a blessing to, look back 8 years from now. I was in Vegas, literally spending my last, because I knew if I went to New Media Expo, this conference was going to change my life. And it did. Now, and we fast forward, I've done so much work that people are inviting me to speak at their conference, and I don't have to worry about my finances to go. I think that's a blessing. That's a blessing. And that's my full circle moment when it comes to Las Vegas. So it was a quick trip, a good trip. Very grateful. And just got a lot of work ahead of me. A lot of work ahead of me. So I am relaxing today somewhat, meaning I'm going to work from my sofa. I'm going to work from my sofa and not my desk. I really need my body to kind of just slow down and catch up, and over what I'm going to call an extended weekend. And so there's no meetings today. I have one short meeting tomorrow, and then catch up with my family and friends over the weekend, and then obviously on Monday hit the ground running. So I'm grateful to be home. Grateful for opportunity, grateful for a good network, and I know there's many more full circle moments to come, whether it's an organization I want to work with, charging a certain amount for a work opportunity, be it speaking or consulting, working with particular brands, or more trips. I think when we experience those full circle moments, it just shows the beauty of life. And you can't plan these things, you know? You can't plan these things. They just happen. And I think that's God's way of saying you're on the right track. So I will go to Vegas when you're not there. Oh man, let me say, that trip was in and out. I had a great time. But it's not my top destination. It's, I think on the personal side, I will say this. I did go to Gordon Ramsay's steakhouse, and that was definitely chef's kiss. I told my friend, and he was like, it's better than B&B Butchers here in Houston. And I was like, man, it's up there. The steak was phenomenal. The mac and cheese. But I think, Vegas, it's a lot of stuff going on. Obviously casinos everywhere. As soon as you get off the airport or from the airplane in the airport, nothing but casinos. Every hotel is connected to a casino. To me, it's just a lot of stimulation, a lot of smoke. It was just like, this is a lot. But also, I was by myself. I do think if I was with a group of friends for a personal trip, it would have been better. But it served its purpose. I attended Leadscon. I don't think I mentioned that. I turned in Leadscon. It's a lead generation conference. So obviously, I'm familiar with lead generation as a marketer. But to see that conference, it was very eye-opening. It was a new level of exposure for me. So that was pretty cool. So I definitely need to go to Vegas for personal reasons. So I don't know who's going to have a bachelorette party. I don't know who's going to invite me to one. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I would have a better time. And also trying to catch a show. I was looking and I was like, I really don't see anything I want to spend my money on. I was like, man. But even when Usher started his residency last year or this year, I was like, man, I would love to see Usher. And I've seen him perform twice, but I wouldn't mind seeing him perform in Vegas. So we'll see. Yeah, I need to go back for personal reasons or to catch a show or something. I think that would be really dope. So anyways, I'm going to sign off. I got to get to work. I'm working from the couch, not the computer desk. So that in itself is rest. So I hope you have a good Thursday. I'm going to do more live videos. So stay tuned. Click somewhere so you can get those notifications, because I've been inspired. These conferences have inspired me. So with that inspiration, more work would be put in. So peace.